Stakeholders Working Group of Neiti, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Belgium to Nigeria, the Chargé d'Affaires of Canada at the Canadian High Commission, the many distinguished personalities here in our midst this morning. We'll begin with an apology for kicking off behind schedule. I have deliberately said good morning because the intention was to kick off this program at 11 a.m. And by noon, of course, that would have given us about an hour behind schedule. We were kick off formally. And the special guest of honor, as you know, is also the chairman of the National Stakeholders Working Group of Neiti, and he is also the secretary to the government of the Federation. But the SGF at this time has some other state engagements, and he has graciously indicated that we could kick off with the program and they would join us in the course of the proceedings, being the public presentation of the Neiti 2022-2023 oil and gas industry reports. And the reports, of course, have been put together by Neiti, signed off on by the National Stakeholders Working Group, with support from the Rule of Law Anti-Corruption, that's ROLAC program being implemented by the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. We will begin formally by rising for the national anthem. Please, let's rise. Please be seated. Just in case you are wondering, this is the new national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we took the first stanza. A couple of days ago at the Federal Executive Council, there was a resolution that for official functions and events, it is appropriate to take the first stanza only. But for some levels of state events, we'll take the three stanzas. But this event, of course, is no less important, but we've taken the very first stanza of the national anthem. Let me immediately recognize the other dignitaries who are here in our midst this morning. Earlier, I began by the general recognition of the dignitaries. We have with us distinguished Senator Benson Agadaga. Distinguished Senator Benson Agadaga is the chairman, Oil and Gas Host Communities Committee of the Senate of the Federal Republic. Please, let's welcome him to this public presentation. We also have distinguished Senator Ekong Sampson, PhD, is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals. Distinguished Senator, if you are hearing some noise in the room in the meantime, it is coming from the salutation of two very important dignitaries who are here with us this morning. It's still morning, just a couple of minutes before noon. So permit me on this occasion to recognize the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, is right here in our midst. And at some point, of course, he was the secretary to the commission. He's a lawyer. We also have in our midst the director and CEO of the Financial Intelligence Unit, that's Hafsat Abubakar Bakari. The alternate chair of the NSWG, that's the Neiti board, the seasoned ambassador now, of course, in retirement, Ambassador Matthew Sunday Adole, representing the North Central Zone in the Neiti board, on the Neiti board. The other members of the board who are here present at the moment include Professor Abubakar Muazu, who's a member representing the Northeast Zone. Professor Muazu. Olashukbo Abdel Jalil Taiwo represents the Southwest Zone. Chief Israel Ikechukwu Ikwebu represents the Southeast Zone on the Neiti board. Dr. Stephen Leo Ackman is a member of the board representing the South Zone. Engineer Mrs. Nkechi Isigwe, an extractive industries expert, is a member representing women and the geoscientists community on the board. We also have Mr. Dele Ayoleke, who is chairman, Miners Association of Nigeria, and he represents the extractive companies on the Neiti board, mining with particular reference. Permit me also to welcome at this time the chairman of OPTS, that is Oil Producers Trade Section, under the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Oganegweke Ajeifia. Mr. Oganegweke Ajeifia is a member also on the Neiti board. The group chief executive serves on the board, but is on this occasion being represented by the Executive Vice President upstream, Mrs. Orishemayowa Eyeson. Is she here with us yet? Is she here with us yet? All right. Oh, you're representing. We'll get your fuller details and recognize you accordingly. We also have in our midst His Excellency, the Ambassador of Belgium, Peter Lenkwet. Peter Lenkwet, the Ambassador of Belgium. Michael Murphy is the Chargé d'Affaires of the Canadian High Commission here in Abuja. Michael Murphy, please. And representing the Corporate Affairs Commission is Mr. Denman Anga. He's representing the Registrar General of the CAC. I haven't started in, but let me just, we also have the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Management Board, Engineer Felix Omashola Ogbe. Engineer Ogbe, I see he was said to have been with us. All right, we just stepped out briefly. Quite a number of dignitaries who are here with us. The Executive Director of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that's the midstream, Professor Zainab Gobir. Professor Zainab Gobir, we're glad to have you with us. And of course, the program manager for IDEA, that's the agency implementing ROLAC, Mr. Emmanuel Uche. Emmanuel Uche, I saw him earlier, is he? All right, he probably just stepped out. He's at the back. It's always hiding. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Emmanuel Uche, there will be no hiding place for you because at some point you will have to address us on this occasion. Senator Eteng Jonah Williams is the chairman, Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream. Distinguished Senator Eteng Jonah Williams, Senate Committee Chair, Petroleum Upstream. And of course, the host for this event, a renowned broadcaster in his earlier career, formerly also director in charge of communications of Neiti, and he's been executive secretary of Neiti for some years running now. It's put all of this together with the support, of course, of his directors, management, and staff, as well as IDEA and other funders. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Dr. Oji Ogbonaya Oji, Executive Secretary of Neiti and Secretary to the board. We will have some further recognitions, but the Executive Secretary is here now to give us his welcome remarks. Please, you'll have to pardon us. We had some housekeeping to do with the bank of microphones, and as you could see, it doesn't look quite tidy, but we have to make do with what we have. Thank you very much. The years, please.
Thank you very much, Kinsley. His Excellency, any moment from now. Distinguished senators that are here present and chairmen of relevant committees in the National Assembly. His Excellencies, friendly missions, diplomatic missions here, Canada, and my brother, Ambassador Peter of Belgium, and the Australian High Commissioner, who ought to be here also, who was with us last night when the Belgian ambassador hosted board members to a dinner. My brother, heads of agencies that are here, especially the executive chairman of the EFCC, you most welcome, sir. My sister Hafsat of NFIU, Professor, the only professor in NMDPRA, Professor Gobe, and I can see the chairman, House Committee Downstream, Honorable Ugochinyere Ikenga Imo, who is just walking in. is the Chairman, House Committee on Petroleum Downstream. All heads of agencies here, my colleagues on the board, the alternate chairman, members of the board, leaders of the civil society here present, extractive companies, heads of government agencies and representatives, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues in the media. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to this very important event, the public presentation of the 2022-2023 Oil and Gas Industry Report. This event is very significant milestone in our ongoing efforts to foster transparency, accountability, and good governance of Nigeria's oil, gas, and mining sector. And there is little we can do without information and data. This report, produced by Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiatives, comes at a critical time when the nation is intensifying its reforms in the sector. The report provides valuable insights that will guide policy, encourage robust public debate, and ultimately improve civic engagement and governance in the management of our natural resources. The importance of this report is real. It serves as an authoritative document that provides comprehensive data and information on revenues, governance structures, operations, compliance with the oil and gas sector regulations and laws within the period 2022 and 2023. The report, as always, remains a vital tool for identifying leakages. And this report did identify a lot of leakages, improving revenue collection and promoting resource management reforms. The preparation of this report followed a meticulous, transparent process in line with global EITI standards. A rigorous multi-stakeholder approach was adopted involving extensive consultation, collaboration with government agencies, extractive companies, the civil society, and indigenous consultants that actually handle the project. We ensured that all the data required were collected, validated, reconciled in an open, fair, and transparent manner. The 2022-2023 report covers entire oil and gas industry, including upstream, midstream, downstream operations, and it delves into critical areas such as revenues generated, taxes, royalties, paid or unpaid, production volumes, stolen, exported, or mismanaged, and overall industry performance. In addition, it explores issues around corporate social responsibility, environmental impact, and host community issues. The goal is to provide stakeholders with a complete and accurate picture of the sector's performance and challenges between 2022 and 2023. The data collected, or the data process, was not without challenges. Our team of experts from the Secretariat working side with our multi-stakeholders, along indigenous consultants that handle this project, encountered significant hazards in gathering accurate and comprehensive data. This includes issues related to information hiding, logistical difficulties, and security challenges in certain regions across the country. However, Neiti's resilience along with dedication of our partners, ensure that we overcame these obstacles. I commend the consultants that are Nigerians for their professionalism and commitment. And I also commend my entire team in the Secretariat, Nigerians that are in the Energy and Mining Department of Neiti, and the entire Secretariat, the civil society working at the national and rural level, who also collaborated with us during this exercise. The report contains several key findings and recommendations. Many of them lie on recommendations on revenue leakages and what needs to be done. The need for improved compliance in the operations. Cases of stealing and malfeasance in the sector. The report underscores the significance of improving governance structures in the sector within the context of the Petroleum Industry Act. As we present this report today, I urge all stakeholders, government agencies, civil society organizations, the private sector, the media, heads of agencies that have a duty to enthrone sanity in our society, to find this report a reliable tool of engagement. Your role in ensuring that the recommendations in this report are implemented is very crucial. The report is not just a document, it's an invitation to action. We must collectively ensure that the findings and recommendations are translated into policies that will drive the needed change in the sector, ensuring that the wealth derived from our natural resources are of benefit to all Nigerians, not just a few. In conclusion, I would like to thank the federal government of Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team, the chairman of our board and secretary to the government of the Federation, all the extractive companies and the civil society for sustaining Neiti's independence. None of these stakeholders interfered with our work. I therefore welcome you and ask that as we end this process today, the beginning should move along with remediation, ensuring that what this report is talking about is translated into action and visible impact in the life of Nigerians. Once again, I would like to welcome you, and I thank all our partners who have kept faith with us. And I would like to thank especially our development partners, Ideas Age, international idea that is implementing the rule of law and anti-corruption project of the European Union. They have been there for us, and they have been supporting all our engagements across the country. We remain indebted to them, and I think their head of projects that is here, Emmanuel Uche, should please stand up for recognition. Mr. Emmanuel Uche. In these days of harsh economic condition, when we remember that ROLAC is there, we move to action. This cozy environment that NNPC is enjoying with us, which is what they are used to, and all other agencies, oil companies, that Neiti is enjoying is courtesy of our development partners. Once again, I welcome you and ask that you please show patience for us to pick one or two things from the report, while the wide dissemination of this report will begin immediately after this ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oji Ogbonaya Oji, Executive Secretary of Neiti. Executive Secretary of Neiti. You know, at an event like this, you cannot immediately recognize all the dignitaries who are present. And so no offense is intended if there was an earlier apparent omission. I did say before inviting the ES to give his welcome remarks that we would, of course, continue to recognize the dignitaries who are in our midst. On which note, I would like to respectfully recognize two members of the Neiti board, that is the National Stakeholders Working Group, who are here in our midst. She's representing the civil society organization on the Neiti board, and she's Dr. Erisa Danla de Sarki. Please let's welcome her. There's also another very powerful representative on the Neiti board, because he represents the industries union in the oil and gas subsector of the extractive industries. Comrade Williams Apureha, President NUPENG. Please, a louder round of applause. If their members decide not to lift petrol, we'll all be in crisis. NUPENG, not be so. They got their power about 30 years ago, and ever since, that followed, of course, the June 12 crisis, and ever since, there's been no looking back for NUPENG. But it's not just strike. It's the welfare of their members and also the well-being of the industry. There are a number of very active civil society members who are here, in addition, of course, to members of the media who are present. You permit me to recognize a lady who is one of perhaps the most knowledgeable and active as a key influencer in the Neiti and EITI processes. She's here with us, Ms. Faith Nwandishi. Ms. Faith Nwandishi is Executive Director and also a former member of the Neiti board as well as the EITI. That is the international body to which Nigeria is affiliated through Neiti. Earlier, the Executive Secretary recognized him while he was walking in. He's always unmistakable with his unique cap, obviously because the tip of the cap has a much larger projection than you would find ordinarily with the red caps from persons in that part of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Right Honorable Barrister Ike Agwonu Ugochinyere Ikenga Imo. Is the House Committee Chairman on Petroleum Resources Downstream. And ever since he came on board, he has been instrumental to seeking leverage for Neiti in the National Assembly. I also like to recognize at this time Mr. Oke Epia of Order Paper. Oke Epia, Order Paper, where is he? That's right, over there. Please let's welcome him. Dr. Dauda Garuba, Executive Director, CDD. He had worked for many years also in Neiti. Paul Ogu is here in our midst. Hajia Safina Tusani, representing women in mining. Hajia Safina Tusani, please let's welcome her. And from the University of Abuja, Dr. Motari Lawal. All right. We'll have some more recognitions, but I'd like to just underscore perhaps the significance of today's event. Over the years, I've had the privilege of being associated with Neiti and its many functions and activities. And the launch of today's report is very significant because we have in our midst, I recognized him earlier, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede. We'd like to again specially welcome him to this event. We also have the director and CEO of NFIU. Now, these are two anti-corruption agencies in the country. And in a sense, Neiti also has an anti-corruption role from the welcome address we heard the ES read, apart from the fact that it also enables us to have better control and better management of our extractives gifts from the Almighty, which we are now using. So today, of course, is a big day. The SGF, who is a special guest, is also the substantive chairman of the Neiti board. This had never happened in the history of Neiti. So that tells you the premium that the current administration is placing on the work of Neiti and how to better utilize its outcomes. Let's proceed now to take some goodwill messages. And it's my pleasure on this occasion to invite the representative of the companies, and that will be Oil Producers Trade Section, who is the chairman of the section, Mr. Orenegweke Ajefia, is also a member of the Neiti board, to deliver a goodwill message on this occasion. Mr. Ajefia, just before you come, I should have said the rules. Goodwill messages often can become keynote addresses in our situation. So, Mr. Ajefia, you know the rules, but for the benefit of all others, let's try and do 120 seconds. That is 2 minutes. 2 minutes. The usual example I give is NTA. If you go and put an advert on NTA for 1 minute, it will cost you nothing less than 1.2 million. So we are offering you 2.4 million on this occasion for that particular purpose. Please, let's welcome the chairman of the OPTS.
Thank you very much. You have taken some of my time. I would like to say a big welcome to everyone here today, and especially to thank the ES for a wonderful job he's been doing. His passion for Neiti is second to none, and he has made a good progress since he took over this role. Transparency is quite necessary. In fact, it's a necessary foundation for any society to develop, because transparency ensures accountability, and as such, people are able to know what is happening and are able to challenge. I represent the oil and gas industry. We are a membership of over 35 companies, 25 of which are Nigerian indigenous E&P companies, and 5 international IOC companies. Transparency is part of our ethics, and we love to be able to share information about what we do, our production, our reserves, the revenues we generate, how much we pay to government as royalties and taxes, so that everyone is quite aware of their rights, and that helps to develop the country. I want to say a big thank you also to the government, to the legislative arms represented here by His Excellency, and other arms of government. We have the EFCC, we have the regulators. That shows that Neiti is working. It shows that transparency is coming to the table, and something that we need to encourage. I would like to borrow a word from the ES, who said that this report is a call for action. That means whatever has been produced will have no meaning if the recommendations are not implemented. We have seen progressive improvement in the quality of the Neiti reports, and this is a trend we want to see continue as we go further. So once again, welcome to this occasion, and I wish us a happy and successful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajefa, the chair of the OPTS, that is Oil Producers Trade Section. Short and sharp and right on time, no overrunning. The next goodwill message will be on behalf of the Civil Societies Organization. And to deliver this will be Dr. Erisa Danlade Sarki. Dr. Erisa Danlade Sarki. If you do more than 2 minutes, there will be a fine imposed on you.
Mine is in dollars, not in naira.
No. Our legal tender is naira and kobo.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, permit me to leverage on the existing protocol already established by the ES. And for want of time, since I'm not giving in dollars, permit me to go through the scripted goodwill. So on behalf of the Civil Society Organization, I am here standing, extending our warm greetings to everyone present here. For us, this is very significant. This is what we've always wanted to see, the public presentation of the Neiti report. For us, this is key because it forms part of our advocacy too. Without this report, we don't know what to say. We don't know how to engage. This moment stands as a beacon of our shared commitment to transparency and accountability and good governance in Nigerian extractive industries. The role of Neiti in promoting open access to information and fostering sustainable development is invaluable by ensuring that the management of our natural resources benefit all Nigerians. For us at the CSO, this is what we look forward to. We take a bold step towards curbing corruption and enhancing responsible stewardship. As civil society organizations, we remain steadfast in our support to Neiti's effort. We believe that informed citizens can actively participate in decision-making processes that can shape the future of our communities and our country. Today's presentation is not just a report, like the ES have mentioned. It is a call for action for continuous collaboration among the government, the private sectors, and the citizen. Of course, it is for us as civil society a tool to engage the government, the private sector, and also enlighten our citizens. We commend Neiti for their dedication and transparency and encourage all citizens to uphold those values as we collectively build a brighter, more equitable future for Nigeria. I wish us the best of this launch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Erisa Danlade Sarki, for the goodwill message. We will take another goodwill message and thereafter have some recognitions before we get remarks from the ROLAC representative. From the development partners on this occasion, would like to respectfully invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of Belgium to Nigeria, His Excellency Peter Lenkert, to deliver his goodwill message on this occasion.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in sometimes complex or even murky policy area, there is one call that is clear and easy to make, a case that is easy and clear to make, and it is the case of transparency. And that case is very easy to make because I'm coming from a country that, as many others, has companies ready to invest in Nigeria. and they will only come to invest if there is a certain level of transparency. I would even claim more. The more transparency there will be, the more willing investors will be to enter this country, and investors coming into this country is also one of the biggest priorities of the current government of Nigeria at all levels, as we understand it. Solid minerals is a sector that is definitely asking for much foreign investment. When it comes to oil and gas, we see a certain movement towards divestment from international companies and more investment by local companies, but that doesn't diminish the case of transparency, of course. It becomes an ever more important internal debate because so much government revenue in general in this country depends still on oil and gas. And even if we look at the global energy transition that we all want to embark upon as a global community, the oil and gas tap will not be screwed shut any day soon. And for that foreseeable future, we also need transparency there. Belgium has been very happy to engage on the, for the cause of transparency in extractives industries worldwide through EITI. And we want to mirror this very consciously at the level of Nigeria. So Belgium is very proud, humbled, that our embassy has been granted observership to the Neiti board since end of July. And we hope we will honor that commitment by being a trustworthy conversation partner on this. We welcome very much the publishing of today's report and are looking forward also to the solid minerals audit report, which is forthcoming, as we understand it, and look forward to much more of these very useful publications in the foreseeable future. We commend Neiti for the work that has gone into these reports, and also I want to especially salute the person who spoke before me, Dr. Irissa, who comes within the Neiti board with a special democratic mandate. And she was elected amidst so many NGOs, and where would we be without NGOs, CSOs, holding the feet to the fire of officials and corporates alike. Thank you very much.
That was the ambassador of Belgium, Peter Lenkot. I hope I got the pronunciation right. More or less. Okay. I'll strive to get the pronunciation right. But I will also, Your Excellency, you will permit me, I will write out a couple of Benin names so that you have some tongue twisters. Tongue twisters. Osamonyi, Gareva, Kaladirha. These are That's from the old Benin Kingdom. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the goodwill message. Very quickly, please permit me to recognize some other dignitaries who've been with us since this program started. Earlier, I introduced and also recognized the presence of the NNPC, but of course, I was later informed that the group CEO wasn't immediately available, but I sent the Chief Compliance Officer of NNPC, Nasir Usman, to be with us on this occasion. Nasir Usman, thank you very much for being here. We also have a member of the Board of Trustees and legal advisor to the Miners Association of Nigeria. He's Barrister Ibrahim Shehu Birma. Barrister Birma, thank you very much for being around. Also in our midst this morning is Assistant Comptroller General of Customs. He's in charge of tariff and trade, AAS Oloyede. Saw him earlier. You're welcome to this event. Also here is a representative of the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Management Board. That is Esweme Dan Kikile. Dan Kikile, I saw him earlier. All right, that's it. That's him over there, sky blue outfit. Thank you for being with us. Representing ICANN, that is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, is Ibrahim Babayo. Ibrahim Babayo, thank you for being here. Also here this morning is a member of the National Assembly, Honorable Jafaru Gambo. Honorable Jafaru Gambo, please let's welcome the honorable member of the House. So, Your Excellencies and very distinguished senators, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, we're slightly tweaking the program. We're going to almost immediately invite the remarks by the ROLAC representative, but we will tarry a while and therefore take a couple of other goodwill messages, considering the very important role that they play in helping to echo the findings contained in the Neiti reports. I would therefore first like to welcome Right Honorable Ugochinyere of the House of Honorable Ugochinyere. Please, let's welcome him. Let's welcome him to the podium.
And also appreciate the EFCC chairman who is here today. Since I started coming to Neiti event, I've not seen any EFCC chairman attend. They always send representative. But the bulk of their work, which is economic crimes, the data to do that work comes also from the work that Neiti is doing. So, Mr. Chairman, appreciate your presence. I cannot overemphasize the critical role that the transparency and accountability play in the effective management of our nation's extractive industry, especially given the current situation of the sector. The 2022 and 2023 oil and gas industry report, with the addition of report on the mining sector, is laudable and will not only enhance our understanding of the interconnectedness of these industries, but also provide valuable insights that can drive strategic investment and policy decision. The House of Representatives Committee on Downstream is fully committed to supporting Neiti mandates and ensuring that its recommendations are duly considered and implemented. Reports like this will definitely come handy to help our committee in carrying out its legislative functions. As a committee, we are currently working on amending the Neiti Act to strengthen its legal framework and enhance its effectiveness. This we have demonstrated through a bill seeking to amend the Neiti Act to provide that the Neiti board shall not be subject to interference from government and other related matters. This bill, which I sponsored, was read for the first time on Thursday, 6 June 2024. We have also proposed a bill which seeks to grant Neiti powers to recommend for prosecution of offenders, especially as it has to do with those who fail to cooperate with Neiti by providing documents, information, or data required in the course of their investigation, and be able also to receive 4% of the money it recovers from successful investigation it carried out to aid its operation. It is my expectation that this report will not only present to us stakeholders a new world of information and data built on substance, material issues, and events that shape the Nigerian oil and gas sector in the period under review, but also build new reforms and policies that will give Neiti stronger powers to discharge its responsibility. Let me, at this junction, commend Neiti for its unwavering commitment to promoting transparency and fighting corruption in the extractive industry. Your efforts have not only shed light on areas that require improvement, but have also fostered public trust and confidence in the sector. I also do heartily commend the management of Neiti, led by Dr. Ogbonnaya Orji, for sustaining the practice of annual reporting of the activities transacted within the industry from time to time. This year's report, which is the 12th edition since the inception of Neiti, is coming at a time when government of the day is in search for workable solutions which will enhance the economic fortunes of Nigeria and increase our revenue generation from non-oil sector for national development. In conclusion, I want to reiterate the Petroleum Resources Committee unwavering commitment to promoting transparency, accountability, and good governance in the extractive industry. We will continue to work closely with Neiti and other stakeholders to ensure that our natural resources are managed in a responsible and sustainable manner for the benefit of all Nigerians, both present and future generations. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Please, a much louder round of applause for Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, Chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum. I'm sure that there are a number of takeaways from his goodwill message. Neiti itself has been on the campaign for many years running now for it to have adequate funding. And of course, this is nothing novel because there are a number of government agencies that are able to finance their operations through some allocation coming from the receipts that they get. And there's no question about it that this very serious work that Neiti has been doing has, of course, yielded more revenue to the purse of the Federation. Once again, thank you very much, Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, for your remarks. We'll also be getting goodwill messages from the chairman of the Senate Committee, Petroleum Upstream, distinguished Senator Eteng Jonah Williams. Distinguished Senator Eteng Jonah Williams.
Thank you very much. The ES, who has been our brother for a long time, distinguished colleagues, our chairman of EFCC, we're happy to see you here. NFIU, we are happy to see you here. And all our development partners, we are happy. Our mother agency, NNPCL, we are happy to see you here. Thank you very much. You know, you cannot shape somebody and prosecute somebody in his absence. Your presence here is good for even Neiti and for our various agencies, because you're present, you look at the records, you look at the books. What we are emphasizing for us is accurate data. Accurate data so that you don't just accuse somebody wrongly. We pray for that. And one of the things we take home is a call for action. A call for action with accurate data, a call for action with the caliber of persons here present. Nigeria will move to the next level. In the oil industry, we're calling on everybody,
all hands on deck for increase in production. We've had a lot. Corruption has visited us badly, and we are calling on everybody to be hands on deck to help and see how we'll increase our production. But with this report, if it goes by what I saw in the last report last year, there is need for all of us to support Neiti, to help our own industry, where Nigerians all depend on. Thank God they've even increased their scope by adding the mining and everywhere. So thank you so much, Neiti. We at the Senate will always cooperate with you, work with you. And I thank my brother, Ugechuku. We've been working together, even on the reports. We will take it further. There is a law that anybody, when you're trying to get an information that refuses to give you accurate information, can be prosecuted. You can also capitalize on that to hold people responsible. This is an act for us to hold people responsible in their actions. That will help Nigeria. We've invited the ambassadors here. We've invited our partners all over the world. Let the international community rely on this data. Let Nigerians, even EFCC, rely on this data if they are accurate. Thank you very much, and we thank you so much.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Eten Jonah Williams, for the good One of the comments made by the distinguished senator who just spoke is a very important takeaway from this event. It says that corruption has visited us badly. In other words, corruption has been a terrible visitor in our homes, in our society. And that is significant, I say, because corruption isn't who we are. Corruption isn't always who we had been. Nigeria, of course, was put together with the amalgamation of the northern and southern protectorates and the colony of Lagos in 1914. Before then, there had been big empires out of this entity. There's no corruption-free society, but our society ran firmly. And for those empires and nations or city-states to have been in existence for hundreds of years meant that there were core values that sustained those societies. And those values included strict abhorrence of corruption. But unfortunately, this has been a visitor in recent times, and all those who are involved in seeking to banish the visitor from our midst are continuing to do a terrific job. And we do hope that with the collaboration and cooperation of us all, we will overcome. Thank you very much, distinguished Senator, for reminding us that corruption has been a terrible visitor in our midst. Very quickly, let me recognize others who are also here in our midst. I'm sure you all know now that with the coming into force of the PIA, that's the Petroleum Industry Act, we now have the upstream and midstream, and of course the NNPCL. The director in charge of development and production at the Upstream Commission, Upstream Regulatory Commission, Mr. Magjaja Emmanuel is here in our midst. Mr. Magjaja Emmanuel, please let's appreciate him for his presence. There are also, very quickly, a number of the top management of Neiti whose work is part of the product that we are launching or presenting publicly presently. And I'll therefore go through the names of the three of the directors. And please let's recognize Dr. Data Basi, MNI, Director, Policy Planning and Strategy Department at Neiti. Dr. Data Basi. Mr. Balarabe Saad is Director, Energy and Mining Department at Neiti. Balarabe Saad, yes. And Director in charge of Procurement, Mr. Abubakar Ahmed Husseini, is also here in our midst. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Your Excellencies, thank you very much for your patience. We are returning to the program as indicated on the agenda. So we're now having remarks by the representative of ROLAC 2, that is a rule of the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, IDEA. Project manager, Mr. Emmanuel Uche, is here, and I invite him most respectfully now to give his remarks. Now, this is outside the scope of the goodwill messages, but we still have to learn to manage our time. And I trust, as always, you get that done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Always a great pleasure to speak after Dr. Oji Obonaya Oji have spoken, because he lays very elaborate protocols on which every other thing can be built. It's my great pleasure this morning bringing us goodwill from the leadership of the European Union Commission to Nigeria, especially our new ambassador, Mignot, who is busy settling in, taking over from Ambassador Samuela Isopi, who has been with us and have done a great job all the while. Standing on the protocol already established by my brother, I think it's still important to say a bit of thank you to my brother Olukoyede, who is here, the EFCC chairman. Good morning, sir. I did not know I was going to see him today. I actually sent you a text message this morning. Okay, let me start by saying that I was charged to speak this morning, and I was happy to hear us sing heartfully the first stanza of the national anthem. And it says, "May the labors of our heroes past never be in vain." So on that note, I want to say a very big congratulations not only to Dr. Oji and his team, who are doing excellent job, but to also recognize that today, to have the Secretary to the Government of the Federation of Nigeria for the first time, and if care is not taken, for the first time in any country, that somebody that highly placed chairs the Neiti board is a testament to the labors of the former leaders of Neiti. And I want to recognize from Dr. Obieze Kwesele to Professor Asisi Asobie, to Hajia Zainab Ahmed, to Barrister Waziri Adio, before it got down to our own brother, Oji Obonaya Oji. Excellent foundations have been laid. Yeah, please, you can give a round of applause. And I want to say in very clear terms that the leadership of this particular agency by the Secretary to the government is both a statement to the high premium the government places on Neiti and its work, as well as increasing recognition of the job that you all do. So I think it's a good one, and we need to recognize that. Let me again then bring us the goodwill and the remark from my institute. The International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance is an intergovernmental organization made up of 36 different countries working together to deepen the foundations of democratic governance globally. Nigeria is still, we still aspire that Nigeria will be one of the members of International IDEA, but currently International IDEA is in Nigeria implementing European Union's rule of law and anti-corruption program. On this, we are very, very happy to recognize that the work that Neiti is doing is making a great deal of difference, and the government and its agencies are taking full account of the work that is being done. When Neiti approached the European Union to support this event, the very first question I asked Dr. Oji is, please, in sending a concept note for this event, can I have a chronicle of the difference and the impact we are making with these reports we present? And he said, before you finish talking, I'm giving you 2 pages of the impact this is making. And when I went through it, there was no gainsaying that a great deal of impact, even the last report, made resounding impact. And I want to say congratulations. Let me quickly say that one of my great writers, Frantz Fanon, did say, and I quote, that every generation out of relative obscurity must discover its own mission. Either you fulfill it or you betray it. I want to say the current board of Neiti and the leadership has discovered their mission, they are fulfilling it. If there is anything I will say on this occasion, it will be to say, since Neiti cannot act in autarky, since Neiti cannot act as an Ireland to make any difference, what are the rest of our sister agencies doing to make sure that this work that is being put in to give us credible data does not go to waste? And on this note, I'd like to join the last speaker and my brother, Honorable Ugochinyere. Thank you very much for recognizing that it's important to have the leadership of our different agencies. And I also want to thank Hajia Hafsat Abubakar. Thank you very much for making it from the NFIU, and I sincerely look forward to greater collaboration, greater partnership with the rest of the agencies so that we can make a difference for our country. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Uche of IDEA, that's the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, for the remarks you have given on the occasion of the public presentation of the 2022-2023 oil and gas industry reports put together and approved by the National Working Stakeholders Group of Neiti. There's a slight amendment one more time. And just before that, let me indicate that we are expecting the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to be with us any moment from now. And well, of course, we will hear from him. As we know, he's wearing 2 caps on this occasion. It's SGF, as the Cabinet Secretary, and also the Chairman of the Neiti board. Although the alternate chair of the Neiti board, Ambassador Adole, has been with us since the commencement of this program. We are taking a message from NNPCL, and that's because of the vital role that the company plays in the oil and gas sector. And the NNPC Group CEO was to have been with us, but he nominated the Chief Compliance Officer of the company, Malam Nasir Usman, to deliver his remarks. Malam Nasir.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Kindly permit me to stand on the already established protocol. Let me start by apologizing on behalf of the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited for his inability to be with us here physically. He has so much wanted to do so. However, he had to attend to some other pressing national assignments. Nevertheless, he has mandated me to convey to you his goodwill message and his well wishes for this occasion. NNPC has been a part of this report, and we also understand all that has gone through this. We have also been part of Neiti right from inception, and we have done so because the objectives, the values, and the principles espoused by Neiti are in perfect harmony with those of NNPC Limited. Therefore, we have done and will continue to partner with Neiti in the coming future. Before I leave, I'd like to say I've taken note of all the key recommendations and findings of the report. And just as the ES has earlier said, he has titled this report a call to action. Let me assure everyone that NNPC has heeded this call, and we will take action and we will take cognizance and amend all the loopholes that have been observed. Before I leave the stage, I think I will be remiss if I do not recognize and commend the effort of the teaming set of professionals in IT and all the other agencies that have participated diligently in bringing about this detailed and comprehensive report. I also want to commend the auditors who have also done a very wonderful job. We have had sleepless nights in the last 2 weeks in order to bring about this report. I also therefore recommend recommend to the government also to kindly go through this and take cognizance of recommendations. It's a treasure trove of vital information and recommendation. And I suggest that this should be used as a key source document for national planning and budgets. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, the Chief Compliance Officer of NNPC, for the message you have just delivered. On behalf of the Group CEO, I'm sure my colleagues who are here, that's to say the media, will have been most excited to interact with the Group CEO, Mele Kyari, if he had been with us on this occasion. A number of issues that are newsworthy, obviously. I'm sure there will be another time. Thank you very much, Malam Nasir, for the remarks that you have made. Very quickly, we have a number of firms that are involved in the oil and gas sector who are here represented by their officials. Seplat Energy. Seplat Energy is here represented by the Senior Legal Counsel, Abishido Dodo of Seplat. I don't know whether he or she is still around. Seplat. ExxonMobil has also been represented on this occasion. Eni and Ajip, Exploration Division Manager, is also here, and AMUI International Petroleum, the consultant, has been in our midst. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about the 2022-2023 oil and gas industry reports. And there have been a few positive comments on the work that Neiti has done. What exactly are in these reports? Certainly, we're not going to have the time to read out all of the details of the report, but these are pieces of work that have taken a great deal of time and commitment, and the authenticity and veracity have been, of course, indicated by the members of the Neiti board who have signed off as required by law on these reports, much like you will see with financial reports of quoted firms on the stock exchange. To give us the highlights of the 2022-2023 reports, let me now invite the firm of auditors, Messrs. Adedeji Adeshile and Co., to give us the highlights of the reports. If you're right here, yes. Okay, the executive secretary has just informed me that the slides that were to be used for the highlights are apparently corrupted, so they're trying to get a replacement slide from their back end, and I'm sure they'll get that sorted out shortly. And once they do, after the highlights of the reports are presented, and if it's not here just with us yet, we will of course have the privilege of inviting the executive chairman of the EFCC to speak to us on this occasion, and thereafter launch the reports. As you can see, they are still draped on the table just in front of the front row. So while the firm of auditors is extracting from its back end the highlights of the 2022-2023 reports, let me take the privilege, Executive Secretary. I don't know how long that's going to take. I was almost tempted to conscript Professor, you're smiling, Prof, the midstream and downstream sector to give us a few remarks on this occasion, because we haven't invited them just yet to speak. And on which note, I would also like to put on notice, assuming it has the leave of its principal, the Upstream Regulatory Commission, to equally address us while we sort out the highlights of the reports. What does the compilation of these reports, what does the compilation entail? And as the point was made earlier, how much cooperation and leverage should Neiti and its board continue to receive from sister agencies? Madam Prof, I'd like to invite you at this time to address us. You have the privilege of taking more than 2 minutes. Before then, we will, of course, politely interrupt and return to our regular schedule. Prof, please. Please, let's welcome her to the stage.
Your Excellencies, good morning to everyone. I'd like to stand on existing protocol. Our distinguished senators, the EFCC chairman, our chairman downstream, our Pengasin and Nupen group, women in the audience, Controller General of the Customs, Group CEO being represented by the Chairman of Compliance, meaning you keep everything in order, the NUPRC. Thank you so much for this last-minute opportunity to speak. I wasn't prepared. However, I would like to say that the authority, Alhaji Engineer Farouk Ahmed, has always taken the assignment of Neiti very seriously. About 6 weeks ago, when we were doing the reconciliation, my boss was still up 3, 4 a.m. working with us to ensure that we deliver this mandate. We take Neiti's assignment very seriously. We are your partner in this success, and we're the partner of all other agencies that we collaborate with. The NMDPRA is here and committed to the success of Nigeria, and we're also committed to delivering to Nigerians. On this note, I'd like to say thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I'm not much of a talker as a person, so do forgive me, and then I was not prepared. But thank you so much for the opportunity again. God bless.
Thank you very much, Professor Zainab Gobri, Executive Director, Economic Regulations and Strategic Planning of the Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority. Impromptu, but of course your message has been very well received by the audience, and it will go far and wide. I'd like to appreciate you one more time. Earlier, I recognized the director of the Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Majaja. Majaja, if you're here, please join us and let's have a message from the Upstream Regulatory Commission. Please, let's welcome him to the podium.
Our chief host, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Neiti, Your Excellencies, the Senate Committee Chairman on Upstream, the House Committee Chairman on the Downstream Petroleum Resources, Chairman of EFCC, and Chairman of NFIU, alternate Chairman of the Board. Kindly permit me to stand on existing protocol. I represent the Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, who is unavoidably absent, but to send his message that he's with you here in spirit. I want to use this occasion to congratulate the board, the management, and the staff of the Neiti in the successful compilation and launch of the 2022-2023 oil and gas industry report. The importance of this report, we all know, cannot be overemphasized. Over the years, we've had a great level of opacity in the operations of the oil and gas industry. And with the advent of Neiti's report, it has gone a long way in clearing out this problem. We have seen progressive improvements in the reports over the years. And as such, we commend the present management and staff of the Neiti. At the Commission, we're highly committed to ensuring Neiti delivers its mandates as enshrined in its act. Over the years, we've been a rallying point in information from the upstream oil industry, point of data validation, and all information needed. We've been a center focal point for the coordination and the activities of Neiti and the E&P companies we regulate, here represented by the chairman of OPTS. We want to state our commitment in even improving on this collaboration to help create the much needed accountability and transparency in the oil and gas industry. As you all know, we crave for foreign investors, increase investments to enable us create value for our huge oil and gas resources. So today, I bring the good tidings and the commitment from the management led by the Commission Chief Executive and the staff of the NUPRC. We will continue to do our best to ensure accurate and timely provision of data to the Neiti in the fulfillment of its responsibility. Once again, I want to congratulate the Neiti and thank you and wish us all a fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark Jaja Emmanuel, Director of the Upstream Commission, Upstream Regulatory Commission, for, again, impromptu remarks on this occasion. I'm sure that if you visit the Neiti website or their offices, you would have access to a number of their publications, quite aside from the yearly reports that we are launching today for the 2022 and 2023. Some of these reports, policy papers, and occasional paper series include, for instance, averting illicit financial flows in Nigeria's extractive industries. You also have a report on a framework for environmental reporting in the extractive industries in Nigeria. There is also the impact of mining on women, youth, and others in selected communities in Nigeria, as well as improving transparency and governance for value optimization in Nigeria's mining sector. So these are very valuable reports. There's no question about it for any investigator, for any academic, anyone who is serious about having deeper insights into Nigeria's extractive industries would find very useful information contained from cover to cover in the various Neiti reports. A great deal of scrupulous processes are undertaken, and the validation, of course, also takes place. Now, while, are we ready? Are we ready? Oh, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, let us, on this occasion, applaud Adedeji Adeshile and co, a firm of auditors, for quickly retrieving the highlights from their back end, and I understand they are now ready to make the presentation. We're sorry we took quite a while of your time, but please, let's appreciate him. Let me hear you clap so that, you know. You know, he himself has been standing for a while. And with the exception of a few of us who have been standing up and walking around, most of us have been seated for nearly 2 hours. And there is a saying, as part of the health, safety, and environment procedures now, that sitting is the new smoking. So may I respectfully request that we all stand for a while. Let's appreciate ourselves for our patience, for our tolerance, for our listening ears. Let's applaud ourselves. Let's applaud ourselves and one another. Yes. Let's applaud ourselves. Let's applaud. Let's applaud ourselves. And please take a seat. Take a seat. Take a seat, and it will be all right. And now, just exchanging pleasantries with the executive chairman of the EFCC is a former member of the National Stakeholders Working Group of Neiti, in fact, the immediate past board of Neiti, Dr. Elias Ububa Gashimbanki. You can see him in a red cap and white hat, but I don't know, he's sneaking out or he's going to sit somewhere. Please, let's appreciate him for being our presence. And so, the microphone now goes over to Adedeji Adeshile and co to give us the highlights of the industry reports for 2022 and 2023. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, DMC. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. My name is Dr. Deji Adeshile. I represent Adeshile, Adedeji and Co, Chartered Accountants. We have been engaged to carry out the 2022-2023 oil and gas industry audits, and to our satisfaction, all these numbers that form the basis of the report is actually a data that has gone through several validation process. Validation process means we had reconciliation with the companies that we've gotten the data from. We had reconciliation with the government agencies as well and other relevant stakeholders. So I'll just try to run through. I won't take much time because the detailed information is contained in the main report that should have or will be hosted on the Neiti website. So the content of the report, we have the background, the production and lifting numbers, the sales and revenue numbers, then orders and key findings. So, please go ahead. So, yes, like I said, we were engaged based on the work Neiti is doing, being the country focus or focal point for transparency and accountability in the extractive industry in Nigeria. So our report is actually based on two key things. One is the Neiti Act, and two is the EITI standard. And it is instructive to note that the 2022-2023 Neiti report is actually based on the 2023 EITI standard. Then we take cognizance of the EITI 2023 validation report because there were some gaps in the report, which our 2022-2023 Neiti report has actually helped to reveal how we can cover those gaps. The objectives of the assignments is actually structured into several layers. One is on the regulatory framework and procedures, in which we looked at the PIA and how it impacts on the industry. Then we looked at the exploration and production activities, in the sector between the period under review. Then we looked at the export and domestic information, which we have gotten the information from all the agencies, both from NEPRC, then NNPC, who is actually the representative of the government in terms of the oil and gas assets, and of course the companies as well. So all of these numbers are gotten from this, and we painstakingly went through a series of validation process before we can come up with a position as to what we have as export and domestic data for the period under review. Then we looked at revenue and payment management distribution, right from the company to different revenue generating agencies in the sector, e.g. the FIRS, e.g. the NEPRC, NNDPR, and the likes. Then lastly, we looked at the impact of climate change and lastly, contribution to the economy, then outcome and impact as relates to the recommendations that we have actually identified that we said it is a call to action. Then the scope of work, it's actually based on 6 phases. First is the preliminary activities, which actually an essential report, which actually scoped everything we've done or we intend to do. Then the second phase is on contextual information. Contextual information, we went through different processes, and at the end of the day, we came out with a contextual report. And the contextual report contains all the legal and regulatory framework in the sector. Then the third phase is on data collection. Data collection starting from data workshop, trying to enlighten the companies and the government covered with, in the audit on the process and how we want to, or we intend to carry out the assignment. We designed a audit template, data collection template, audit request checklist, and all of those things form the basis of how we got our data processed and forming the basis of the report. Then on the fourth phase is the reconciliation. We don't just throw out the numbers. We subject it to different validation, just like I said, just to emphasize the quality, how reliable the data are. It's not just a one-sided data. We ensure that the data actually reconcile with relevant stakeholders in the sector. Then the fourth phase is trying to investigate discrepancies in the event, because we said 0.5% as the minimum that we should have. When there are discrepancies that's above 0.5%, we try to investigate, try to understand why those numbers are in variance. And if you look into our report, our recommendation, key recommendation is that there's need for more data synchronization, because data from companies down to relevant government agencies should be able to speak to each other. Then the fifth phase is the final reporting, which output is what we are celebrating today. Then the last phase is having the 2022-2023 oil and gas industry report. Then the covered entities, we have the revenue we've covered is structured into 2. One is what we call reconciled revenue streams, 18 of them, and then unilaterally disclosed 13 of them. So these are the revenue streams we've covered, which the details is actually contained in the main report. Then an overview of the entities we covered, 78 private companies structured into different production arrangements, the JV, joint ventures, the PSC, production sharing contract, the SC, the service contract, the marginal fees operator, and the sole risk operator. Then we have one bilateral arrangement between Nigeria and Sao Tome and Principe. Then we have 6 revenue collection, 6 revenue generating agencies of government, the likes of the FRS, NPRC, NCDMB, NDDC, Ministry of Finance for NES, then NNDPRA for other revenue from the sector. Then we have 3 others that we got information as to the environment from. Then we have one SOE, one state-owned enterprise, which is the NNPC Limited. And they were part of the process. And I actually glad to say that they hold up to the recommendation, and which we think if we actually implement such recommendation, it will aid more transparency and accountability in the sector. Then the materiality, is just, all of this is just to give confidence, give you comfort to how we arrive at the numbers. For the materiality, for 2022, we set out to identified 78 companies, out of which we reconciled 62. We did not reconcile 1, because that one company did, or they weren't responsive, right? 62 were responsive. We went ahead to reconcile them. Then the 15, we did not reconcile those ones because they were not in production. So we felt there's no need to, or we concluded that there's no need to bother them because they were not in production. And one of the bases of bringing companies to the process is when they are in production. Then for 2023, 78 companies was identified at the start of the audit. 62 was reconciled because they participated in the process. 2 didn't show up. Then 14 were not relevant because they were not in production in the period under review. So the data collection sources, we have 2 main ways we have gotten our data. One is the primary data source, and then 2 is the secondary data source. For the government, for the companies, what we did at the start is we designed and updated an audit data collection template, which was sent out at the beginning of the exercise, in addition to template checklists, audit information request list, and other means of getting data from the companies. For the secondary data, we relied on, we got information from the audited financial statements and what we call systematic disclosed information on their website, on their portal, which they have sent to us. And for the government as well, we sent out audit data collection template to them, the checklist, several checklists, and we did a continuous engagement. For the secondary data, we got information from their annual report. Then assessment of data quality. So what we had eight steps in which the data passed through. 1 is what we call the data collection and review validation. 2 is the data cleaning and verification. Then 4 is data completeness and coverage. Then we did data consistency to check that the data we have used are data that we've gotten from different sources within the sector. Then the 6th is data transparency and accessibility. So just like what we've done, all the data that backed up the main report will be hosted on Neiti website. Then on data documentation audit trail, we ensure that everything we've done, all the steps followed, Neiti is actually copied, and then they can see, they can walk through. So if you are interested in knowing how So production data, so for 2022, our fiscalized crude production was 490.945 million barrels, as against 556.130 million barrels in 2022. So our fiscalized production decreased by 11.7% comparing 2022 and 2021. Was recorded in 2022. 490.945 million barrels. So which means that in that year, we have 61.3% efficiency when we benchmark with production output in 2013. Then for 2023, the total fiscalized production was 537.571 million barrels compared to 490.945 million barrels in 2023. So we did a 10-year trend between 2014 and 2023, and we observed that the highest in those 10 years was in 2014, which recorded 798.542 million barrels, and the lowest still in 2022, 490.945 million barrels. So when we try to benchmark 2014 outcome, we operated at 67.16% in 2023. So this is the trend. The details, you can see it on the Neiti website. So crude losses. What is instructive in 2023 is that the crude losses drop significantly. And kudos to the effort of all the stakeholders in this industry, but we should not rest on our house. So we observed that the crude loss was 7.68 million barrels in 2023, which, when we compare that with 2022 of 36.69 million barrels, that's a significant drop of 79%. That's what our finding shows. So we did a trend of 10-year trend of crude losses, right? And the highest, you can see the highest in 2016, 101.05 million barrels, as against what we have in 2022 and in 2023. So crude lifting. In 2022, the total crude lifting was 482.074 million barrels, comparing 551.006 million barrels in 2021. It's a 13% decrease in crude lifting. Crude lifting is a function of production and other circumstances. So, and for 2023, total crude lifting was 534.159 million barrels, comparing 482.074 million barrels in 2022. So, which is 11% increase. So 2022-2023, there was an increase from 2022 in 2023. So crude lifting, in terms of what NNPC lifted on behalf of the Federation itself, because of the PIA has actually subrogated the JV assets to NNPC Limited, and then they lifted on behalf of NEPRC and FRS. For NEPRC, they lifted what we call royalty, for royalty, for concession renter, based on different arrangements. And then for FRS, they lifted what we call the tax oil. So the total lifting by NNPC for 2023 was 196.344 million barrels. And for 2022 was 176.070 million barrels. So company lifting under different arrangements, JV, PSC, sole risk, marginal fields, total for 2023 was 337.815 million barrels. So the total lifting nationwide, in industry-wide, for 2023 was 534.159 million barrels. For 2022 was 482.074 million barrels. A variance or change of 52.085 million barrels. So an improvement of 11% between when we compare 2022 and 2023. So we did a 5-year trend. This shows a 5-year trend of crude lifting in the country. You can see the highest so far is still 2019. Yes, 2023 improved upon 2022. The details can be found on Neiti website. Then the crude oil selling prices. So we did some analysis as to how NNPC determined the pricing of the crude they have lifted on behalf of the Federation themselves and the likes of the NPRC for royalties, concession rents, and the likes of FRS for tax oil. So we did a comparative analysis. We took data from OPEC, from the US, from Europe, and we concluded that the pricing mechanism NNPC adopts is globally competitive, no doubt about that. So detail can be found in Neiti, in the main report to be hosted by Neiti on their website. So this is the trend of how we did the pricing, comparing the NNPC pricing they've used for the 2 years, look at the OPEC pricing, look at the Euro Brent, Oklahoma, West Texas. These are pricing mechanisms that actually use as a global benchmark. So we did all of these things, and our conclusion is that NNPC pricing is based on international best practice. So gas production. Our gas production for 2022 was 2.5 trillion standard cubic feet in 2022, comparing to 2.744 trillion standard cubic feet in 2021. So it dropped by 8% when we compare 2021 and 2022. So a 5-year trend between 2018 and 2022 shows that the highest production was 3.048 trillion scoff in 2019. So when we try to benchmark this, which is with what was in 2022, we came to the conclusion that we operated at 82.73% efficiency based on using 2019 as a base case. Therefore, 2023, the total gas production was 2.49 trillion scoff, comparing 2.5 trillion scoff in 2022, a marginal drop of 1% anyways. So so showing the 5-year trend between 2019 and 2023, the highest recorded was still in 2019 of 3.048 trillion scoff. So, and the lowest was in 2023. So which means within that 5 years, 2023 recorded the lowest. So which you will see the details in the report, but the conclusion is that there is need to look at our gas production and the need to drive to optimize the use of gas. So this is a 5-year trend, and the detail as to the numbers can be, I don't want to take much time because, thank you. Then the crude sales and revenue because NNPC is the custodian of government crude, and that is why we focused, this slide focused on NNPC Limited total crude sales. So we have for 2023-2022. For 2023, the quantity was 196.344 million barrels, as against 176.012 million barrels in 2022. So a change, incremental change by 11.6%. In value terms, for 2023, it was 16.467 billion USD, but in 2022, it was 18.106 billion USD. You can see, but reason why, despite the fact that we had increase in crude lifting is what turns to money, right? So despite that we have increments in 2023, the value is actually the value actually reduced because of you can see the derived average selling price, which it was $102.8 in 2023. In 2022, but in 2023 it was $83.87 per barrel. So this is a 10-year trend of financial flow. So for the sector, that's the government financial flows for 10 years was $294.33 billion. And you can see the spread. The highest so far was in 2023 was in 2013, recording the highest so far collected in the industry. When we try to compare 2022 and 2023, 2022 is higher than 2023. So which means the pricing, the crude oil pricing is dwindling, and which has impact on the revenue collected by the government. So our key findings, we did 18-year trend of what we call under recovery. Some years it was subsidy, other years or currently core price differentials and the likes. So we did the 18-year trend. So the total so far between 2006 and 2023, right, was 15. Okay, sorry. So this is the trend actually. So what was claimed in between 2026 and 2023 is 15.87 trillion naira, and 2022 recorded the highest so far. For 2022, the price differentials under recovery, or what you could say subsidy, right, accounted for 4.7 trillion naira. Details of all of these numbers are in the main report. Then PMS importation. For PMS importation, NNDPRA is the primary government agency that should track all those numbers. We got the numbers from them. We got the numbers from NNPC representing the government. So from the NNDPRA record, the total we did 10 years trend of PMS importation, and the highest was in 2022. So if you look at the importation from 2014 to 2023, the highest was in 2022, which was 23.5 billion liters, and the lowest so far was in 2017, which was we imported the lowest when we do the 10 years trend, and which recorded 16.88 billion liters. You can see the numbers. I won't bore you with the details, but what is instructive is that when we try to compare 2022 and 2023, 2022 is higher than 2023. Okay, this is just a trend for 10 years, just to show you the trend, and you can see 2018 almost matched 2022. Liabilities. So these are liabilities profile, amount collectible by any PRC and FRS. And for any PRC, a total of $6.049 billion is collectible as at 31st August 2014. So sorry, 2024. And these numbers relate to the numbers in the year under review, which means the period under review 2022 to 2023. And then as at 2024, August, that's about 8 months after the close of the fiscal year, we still have $6.049 billion outstanding from the NEPRC perspective. And in addition to that, there's a Naira component of it of 65.85 billion naira. For FRS, the USD component, we have $21.9 million. Then for the Naira component, we have 492.7 million naira. Then for what the report actually brought out through is to look at different fiscal commitments, loans, guarantees, which the NNPC, on behalf of the government, they've entered into. So we got an update on the projects. One is JV project financing loans they have obtained, and the others are different arrangements. So all of these, like the Project Panther, like the Project Bison, and the Dangote Refinery, the status, everything is contained in the main report. So the findings, the other findings is that one, Go up, go back. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So the findings is, of course, part of the EITR requirement is the disclosure of license holders, which we call the registered of licenses, and then the contract as well. Contract disclosure is important. So we did some assessment around what is the requirement of the PIA. The PIA states that there should be what we call the National Grid System Accurate Management. So we did, and that is in line with section 69(1) to 7, part 2 of the PIA. So our conclusion, our conclusion is that there hasn't been compliance as to that, and the rating is that it is high, and then priority means that it should be done immediately. And that's our recommendation there. And of course, for the upstream register of license as well, we observe that it's not yet what it should be. So our recommendation, the implication is that it's not compliant with section 219, 222, 223, 224 of the PIA, because just like I said, one of the key legal instruments we have used as the basis for the audit is the PIA. Then the recommendation is that any PIA is to establish and make public available comprehensive register. Then for decommissioning abandonment fund as well, we observe that it hasn't been done, and one of that recommendation is that that should be followed in line with section 232 and 233 of the PIA. All of the details are all in the main report. Then, of course, the upstream environmental remediation fund as well, it's still not activated. So we recommend, in line with section 103 of the PIA, that it should be activated. So one of our findings was around cases of petroleum products losses arising from pipeline breakages, thefts, and sabotage, right? So, of course, we expect that there's more to be done when it comes to, and that is actually one of the key responsibilities of the NNDPRA, that they should try and look at all of these, especially when it comes to PMS consumption. Yes, our detailed report shows that we only more track, we track more on the part of the importation, distribution, and then the consumption part, which is actually the data that we should use to rely on, the basis upon which subsidy should be calculated or should be determined or should be assessed, as the case may be, there are still gaps around that. Detailed information can be found in the main report. So, of course, Neiti too, we are independent administrator, so we will say what Neiti needs to do as well. So our findings we observe that Neiti itself needs to do more. And thanks to the update of the Act, and then empower them to do more in terms of following up on remediation, because strict or close follow-up on remediation, we actually give credence or we throw more light or we give more impact when all of these things are done. Then as to the issues of the PIA, there are some gaps noticed, there are some overlapping roles which the report has actually which the report identified. So we expect that all those issues will be taken up. We recommend that the regulator, even the Ministry of Justice, should take those areas to organize a stakeholder engagement like this, where all gaps, all things in the PIA that needs further amendment can be discussed, and they champion that for more transparency and accountability in the sector. Okay, so I think this is just the cap of the report, and I can tell us that the report is detailed, and then everything I've omitted, please, you can check Neiti website or relate to them. They will give you how we arrive at those numbers. And then to give more comfort, the data we have used are data that have been validated from the part of the company to the government and other sources, because we have to balance everything. And it's not just taking the numbers independently. We did a tripartite reconciliation meeting, which means we all sit in a hall to look at the numbers together and to agree. Even after we did that, we went and still continue with our what? With our confirmation verification. NNPC can attest how rigorous this process is. And the numbers recommendation, the one thing is to look at the numbers and to walk through the process. Another thing is to implement the recommendation, because recommendation are what will transform and have more impact in terms of the theme of driving domestic resource in the country. So on this note, I would like to thank everybody for listening, and then enable to look at check related websites and other resources for more information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adedeji Adeshile, the principal partner at the Adedeji Adeshile firm of auditors, for walking us through the highlights of the 2022-2023 oil and gas industry reports. As you can see, the executive secretary has been walking his phones. The SGF and his team are in constant touch with him. There are higher duties on this occasion, but we just want to take advantage of the hiatus before we invite our special guest of honor, the executive chairman of the EFCC, to give his keynote and thereafter unveil the report. That apart from the numbers, that's the bare numbers that the firm of auditors has provided to us, the executive secretary, Dr. Ojo Ogbonnayaoji, will speak to the numbers in more general terms for general understanding. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much, Adeshile. We still have very credible firms and indigenous companies in Nigeria that can do an excellent work in spite of pressures. And I would like us to publicly, on behalf of all of us gathered here, publicly acknowledge the effort of these young Nigerians who have done an extensive job. Before now, Neiti reports were meant to understand that it can only be conducted in London. The first report cost this country over $400,000 and was held in London. But having been part of the EITI process from 2006 in one way or the other, we observed that these consultants will arrive in London and check into Hilton. And at the end, it's still Nigerian local partners that will get the job done. And all their stay and lifestyle in Hilton will be part of the money we are paying. Please, the SGF is just driving in. I don't know whether you allow me to just receive him, and it's just arriving now. Please, they are calling me. Just 1 minute. But I will not forget what I was saying. Thank you.
Please, 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 thank you very much for the break in transmission from the Executive Secretary of Neiti. Now, let me, while we are waiting the arrival of the SGF, sorry, where are you carrying? No, not yet, not yet, not yet. Please return the mic and the logo so that the place is not denuded. Thank you very much. There's been a high-profile attendance at today's event. Former national president of the Alumni Association of the National Institute. The National Institute is the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru near Jos. He's the current first deputy president of NASIMA, Engineer Jani Ibrahim. Engineer Jani Ibrahim. Please, let's welcome him. All right, so let's also welcome into our midst the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Please, let's rise to welcome him. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and chairman of the National Stakeholders Working Group, otherwise known as the board of Neiti. He's just coming in now. Of course, we had kept you informed about his movement and his whereabouts, and just now he's exchanging pleasantries with Engineer Jani Ibrahim, former national president of the Alumni Association of Nigeria. You won't? Yes. Well, we promised that the chairman of the Neiti board and secretary to the government of the Federation, His Excellency, distinguished Senator George Akume, was on his way to this event, and here he is. Please, let's give him a round of applause. As we know, these are very, very busy times, and for him to have squeezed out the opportunity to be here says a lot about the high esteem to which he holds this particular event. And as we did say, there's probably been no launch of Neiti reports in the past that attracted the caliber of personages who have been in this hall since we began, around about a few minutes before noon. The SGF is a very well-known personality, and oh, I'm seeing right opposite me, the former chairman of the immediate past board of Neiti, that's the National Stakeholders Working Group. Barrister Dekunle, of course, is a retired federal permanent secretary, where he was in charge of the General Services Office in the office of the secretary to the government of the Federation. Please, let's welcome him to this event. As I was saying, the SGF, two-time governor of Benue State, distinguished senator of the Federal Republic, and one-time honorable minister in charge of special duties and intergovernmental affairs. And that is why is often, I think politely, also referred to as GSM, Governor, Senator, Minister. So we might as well now add GSMS, that is GSMS, being Governor, Senator, Minister, and Secretary to the government of the Federation. Tireless, hardworking, patriotic, committed, and highly dependable in terms of the functions and activities of government and well-being of our people. I think that I would like to revert to the Executive Secretary, because he was making some further clarifications and giving us insights into the preparation of the audit reports and how much we are now saving money by using local auditors who also have their independence. And as you very well know, I did say this, that the reports that you are seeing now are the equivalent of financial reports, usually signed off on by the members of the board of directors of a quoted company. Dr. Ojo Ogunaya, just give us a brief summary of what we've been through for the benefit of the chairman, and thereafter we'll continue with the proceedings.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, Your Excellency, the chairman of Neiti board and secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, CON. I must confess that since his appointment as the chairman of the board, we were scared on when and how we are going to have access to him and his time. But that has not been the case. He has created an unfettered access to Neiti, to me and to members of the board. Yesterday, he spent quality time with us, presided over the meeting of this board that approved the report we are presenting today. And to make it easy, he offered us his boardroom. He said because of the exigencies of his office, it will be difficult to stay too far. So we held the board meeting inside the confines of the SGF's conference room, and he sat with us. And I hope, sir, that conference room will be made permanent for us, sir, because it was very comfortable. And anyway, if I look left and right, coffee and tea were served. Nobody asked me to pay. And I have told members of the board that that is where we are going to be holding our board meeting. There's no way you compare SGF's office with the one in Wuye. It's not the same thing. Your presence here today, sir, is also a confirmation of the same availability and confinement. On the report that has just been presented, Neiti report has three major components. One is revenue, the other one is process, which process determined the revenue. The other one is volume. And to Neiti stakeholders, the judiciary spoke to you as an accountant, but the civil society will pick that report. They will reason completely differently. The government will look at it differently, and the extractive companies differently. There is no way we can appreciate the enormity of data and information available in that report except you read it. We have also engaged our partners to simplify the report in terms of figure, naira and kobo. And once we leave here, all the information will be made available to you on our website. It's just not possible. He spoke more of the procedure, the content of the report is inviting. You need to read it. It's a very detailed job. On that note, the Independence Day anniversary of our country is fast approaching, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, His Excellency, is presiding over several meetings. One that borders on salary review implementation. We are therefore honored to have him in our midst, and I will right away invite him, Your Excellency, to come off the stage and deliver your keynote speech, after which the EFCC chairman will join you to help and unveil the report. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Please be seated. Distinguished esteemed stakeholders, let me recognize in a very particular way the chairman of the EFCC, who is here with us. Thank you for coming, and our partners, foreign and local. I want to appreciate your contributions. Thank you. Let me proceed. It is with great honor that I stand before you today as I present the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative Independent Industry Report for the oil and gas sector covering the period of 2022 and 2023. I wish to begin by conveying the warm greetings and heartfelt appreciation of dear President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, to Neiti, the national stakeholders working group, their development partners, and all stakeholders who have been part of this crucial process of enhancing transparency and accountability in the extractive sector. Let me also reaffirm the unwavering commitment of the federal government of Nigeria to principles of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. We consider the Neiti not only as a global standard for promoting transparency in the management of revenues from natural resources, but also as a tool to strengthen public trust, accountability, and economic growth. Nigeria's participation in the Neiti is a demonstration of our resolve to ensure the country's rich oil and gas resources are managed responsibly for the benefit of all citizens. The federal government remains committed to the continuous implementation of the Neiti standards, as we believe they play a pivotal role in fighting corruption, enhancing government accountability, and ultimately securing the future of our beloved nation. This report is not merely a document, it is a critical instrument that provides information, data, and insights into the governance of our most vital sector. It allows us to scrutinize how revenues are generated, managed, and spent, thereby guiding the government in making informed decisions for sustainable development. The information and data provided with Neiti's independent reports have consistently proven invaluable to the government. These reports have guided us in shaping policy decisions, formulating reforms, and instituting critical measures that foster accountability, particularly in the oil and gas sectors. In a sector where opacity could easily lead to leakages, inefficiencies, and corruption, Neiti has become an indispensable partner in ensuring that Nigerians are fully aware of how their commonwealth is managed. I'd like to emphasize that the government commitment to this process extends far beyond simple endorsement. The federal government considers Neiti's role as a beacon of transparency and accountability in extractive industries, and the credibility of its report serves as a foundation for formulating national policies, fighting corruption, and ensuring equitable distribution of revenues. The data contained in this report will certainly inform critical government decisions moving forward, especially as we continue to prioritize resource management, revenue mobilization, and public accountability. The chairman of the Neiti board, I stand before you today to underscore the federal government's respect for Neiti's independence. While my role as chairperson is a testament to the importance the government places in Neiti, it also signifies the commitment to ensure that Neiti operates independently without interference as mandated by the Neiti standards. It is our duty to guide its independence with great care and diligence, ensuring that Neiti can operate free from any undue influence. The integrity and credibility of Neiti's work lie in its ability to objectively assess the activities of both the government and the private sector actors in the extractive industries. As chairman, I want to assure you that the government will continue to respect Neiti's autonomy and provide necessary support to support it to discharge its mandate without hindrance. The period covered by this report, 2022-2023, particularly significant as it captures a critical transition period in the life of this nation. The federal government took office during a time of immense economic and policy shifts. The information contained in this report reflects the realities of the oil and gas sector during this transition. This period marks a defining moment in Nigeria's path towards reform, especially in light of the ongoing energy transition, fiscal policy changes, and the drive for economic diversification. The insights offered in this report will undoubtedly help the government making sound policy choices, especially as we implement the Petroleum Industrial Act, PIA, and navigate the complexities of a rapidly changing global energy landscape. Let me assure you all that the federal government will carefully study the findings and recommendations contained in this report. We recognize the need for prompt action, and when necessary, we will implement reforms aimed at addressing gaps, improving sector governance, and enhancing revenue generation. The lessons learned from this report will inform our policies and ensure that continue to strengthen transparency and accountability in the oil and gas industry. In conclusion, I'd like to commend the leadership of Neiti and the NSWG for their dedication and diligence in producing yet another comprehensive and insightful report. The thoroughness of the data collection, validation, analysis process speaks to the professionalism of Neiti and its commitment to the 80 standard. This report is a testament to the hard work and collaboration among government companies, civil society, and the international partners. I also want to express my profound gratitude to all stakeholders, government agencies, private sector actors, civil society, and our development partners who have contributed to this success story. Together, we're building a transparent, accountable, and inclusive, extractive sector that will benefit all Nigerians. Thank you all for your kind attention. I look forward to productive discussions and actions that will follow the release of this all-important report. God bless you all, and God bless the Republic of Nigeria.
Once again, let's appreciate His Excellency George Akume, Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman of the Board of Neiti, otherwise known as the National Stakeholders Working Group. Your Excellency, thank you very much there for your keynote address. And we are told that the SGF is pressed for time, but of course, we will still have him with us for the next couple of minutes. And what we'll be undertaking will be to specially invite our special guest of honor, the Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, who's been with us since we commenced this program some hours ago. Your Excellencies, distinguished senators, honorable members of the House of Representatives, the alternate chair of the board, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, let me now respectfully invite our special guest of honor, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, Executive Chairman of the EFCC, to please come forward and make a few remarks, and thereafter unveil the 2022-2023 oil and gas industry reports. To unveil the reports, the EFCC Executive Chair will be joined by where we are all dignitaries, but so permit me, all the dignitaries on the front row, including the Director of NFIU, Executive Director of the midstream and downstream sector, the distinguished senators, honorable members of the House who are here present, and any others that the space on the front here, just below the podium, will take. So,
all the members of the board, NSWG, all members of NSWG.
yes. Okay.
Your Excellency, members of the board of Neiti, distinguished guests here present, our being present here today, I'm referring to all the anti-corruption agencies that are here present. Your Excellency, is a demonstration of our commitment to accountability and transparency in managing government resources, particularly the resources derived or derivable from our natural resources. Your Excellency, over the years, as anti-corruption agencies and law enforcement agencies, we have been part of the sources of the work of Neiti. Where the work stops at the level of presenting the report, then we take off from there to ensure that the recommendations therein and the revelations therein, particularly as it relates to criminal infraction and violation of our financial laws, is taken up very seriously. Your Excellency, I am also happy to announce to you that as at yesterday, I still approve that over ₦1 billion should be remitted to the federal government recovery account as a result of the work of the last report of Neiti. Since then, we have been making recoveries. We have cases in court we are prosecuting. And with this report, 2022 and 2023, we are also going to do everything within our power, deploy all our resources to ensure that we implement the recommendations therein. Thank you, sir. So on behalf of the entire board and the federal government of Nigeria, reform-minded Nigerians, and the anti-corruption agencies, I'd like to unveil this and present this report to the public.
All right, Your Excellencies, distinguished. Sorry. All right, Your Excellencies, special guest of honor, members of the stakeholders working group, distinguished senators, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, we will steal some more time of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation by inviting a member of the Neiti board to give the vote of thanks. This function started shortly before noon, and we've been here. May I now invite Professor Abubakar Muazu of the University of Maiduguri and a member of the board representing the Northeast Zone to please give the vote of thanks while we are still in the auditorium.
Thank you very much, Kingsley Osadolo. It is my pleasure to give the vote of thanks and to particularly thank the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, for providing very strong leadership to the NSWG. Very many people have contributed to this process, and we are happy that today we receive support from members of the National Assembly, the anti-corruption agencies, civil society organizations, development partners, the media, and of course, the Secretariat. We must also thank the consultants that took their time to produce this report. We are glad to say that they cooperated fully with the NSWG and worked tirelessly around the clock to address issues, questions around the report and ensuring that the report has integrity and it is verifiable. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We are looking forward to receiving you again at the next report presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we close, please, may I have your attention? Before we close, may I have your attention, please? We are closing with the national anthem, and everyone should be at a standstill as we take the national anthem for our closing proceedings.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland.
Thank you very much, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.